Happy Tuesday, everybody. My name's Will Young from Barron & Kinley. Today is ConnectWise Tuesday, Tuesday the 14th, Automate Edition. It is not technically moved away from Zoom, Ralph. We are initiating the stream from Zoom and then broadcasting it live to Facebook. I am sending a link in the Facebook chat for anybody that would like to join the meeting via Zoom. But we should be have a lot less technical difficulties than we did last week. But never say never. I'm sure something will come up. The reason you might want to join via Zoom is there's not going to be a delay. There is about a 20-second delay going from if you're watching straight from Facebook. While people are coming online, please feel free to type in questions or anything you'd like me to touch on today. One thing I'd like to go over, I don't know if anybody saw, but Microsoft is releasing a pretty serious patch today. It was a vulnerability found by the NSA. So they're going to release a patch today, and today's Patch Tuesday anyway. But I wanted to go over just how you could check the status of a patch and see where it's deployed and not deployed. But if anybody has any questions in the Zoom chat, in the Facebook chat, please type them, and I will be happy to answer them. Okay. So I am going to share my screen because nobody wants to look at my ugly mug anyway. Okay, so inside our Automate, let's say we want to check on the status of our 0-day patch that Microsoft is releasing. We're going to go over here into Automation, and we're going to go to the Patch Manager. All right, so from here, I'm going to click on the patch icon, which is this little puzzle piece at the top left. And here I have a list of all of the patches that are available to be installed in my system. So what we would do is we would search for a KB. Perfect. And let's say this is the patch that Microsoft just released. Now down here I have a list of all of the computers where this patch is either eligible to be installed or installed on. So I can see that this particular patch that I picked is applicable to 4 machines. It's installed on 3 of them, and it's not installed on 1. So when you have your boss comes up to you and you're the Automate admin and they say, hey, I just read this article, how are we doing? Is it patched everywhere? You can easily say, hey, I got 1 computer that I need to make sure, or that I need to install it on. And then right from here, we can just right click on this computer, or we could just highlight this computer and then click the download or the down arrow. And that's going to install the patch directly on that machine. It's going to issue an immediate command. So once the patch is visible in your system, you can mass deploy it to all your machines immediately. Anybody have any questions about that? Okay, so just wanted to touch on that because I know I saw it in the news. Ralph is asking, does that deploy to all machines or only ones that are on a certain group? That's actually only going to deploy to the machines that you highlight. So you can hold down Control and click and highlight as many machines as you want, and it'll deploy to just the machines that you selected. Okay, so Ralph asked a separate question about Control. Says, I know that Automate integrates into Manage and Control integrates into Automate. Are there any settings in Automate that need to be changed to allow access to Control from a ticket? Ralph, inside of Automate, there are no settings that need to be changed. However, there is a Manage plugin or a Manage extension that needs to be installed in Control for you to be allowed to enable that functionality of initiating a control session directly from the ticket. That's a pretty sweet integration because it takes your notes for you and it adds your time entries. Highly recommend you do that. If you have any questions, feel free to pop me an email and I'll send you over a KB. Oh, excuse me. All right, so I'm putting in both the chats. I'm throwing my email address, just in case anybody has any follow-up questions after this meeting. All right, what other questions do people have or things that people would like me to touch on? Are all, we've got, is everybody currently using Automate? Are you guys new clients or new to Automate? Are you seasoned vets with Automate, been using it for a while? All right, while I'm waiting for some questions to come in, a PSA, on Tuesday the 28th, that's going to be our industry speaker Tuesday. We're going to be having, we're going to be talking about how you can, how you can provide credentials to clients securely in a secure manner. And I've got Glenn from Traceless who's going to be on, talking about how we can use Traceless and manage to do that in a secure, safe manner. I know when I worked at an MSP, the transporting of credentials to clients is always been a challenge, and you never want to email credentials, and then just finding a good, secure way to do that is has always been a struggle. So I want to talk about some solutions and the risk you have of doing that. Derek is asking, is there a simple way to modify an existing report in Report Designer, or do you have to start from scratch each time you want to make a report? Yes, Derek, you can modify an existing report. That is actually my recommended method, is to just take an existing report, copy it, and then go to town on it. The reason you'd rather do that is there's a lot of sub-reports in with the headings and stuff that are already done for you. And if you, it's a lot easier to just take an existing report and adjust it as opposed to starting from scratch and doing all of that. Let me see if I have a report here that I can show you and then alter. All right, I'm going to share my screen so I can show you how to do that. All right. So here I'm in the report center, and I have the report that I want to modify. Simply highlight it and then go down here to edit report, and then you can modify the report. And that's going to bring up the report designer. Where you can adjust anything you would like. So he's got a calculated field, we can adjust that, we can change words, whatever, wherever your imagination takes you. So Ralph is asking, what would be your recommended easiest way for a client to match a computer to one in our automate system over the phone? So you mean, how do you find out which computer the client's using? Okay. So one way you could do that, you guys still see my screen? Is have the user right click on their automate icon and go to system information. Once they have that, they can easily tell you over the phone the ID of the computer. So this computer is computer ID 4. And then me as the tech, I'll just type that up in my top right in the search agent ID, and it'll pull up my computer screen. So that's one way. Another way to do it is just do a search here by the user that you're talking to on the phone. If they're on the computer, that means they're logged in, and then I can search for the logged in user. Hey, this is me, that's my computer. Does that answer your question, Ralph? Awesome. There are too many chat windows that I need to monitor in this now. All right, and then Derek, are you good with the, your report questions? Excellent. All right. So what else we got? What would everybody like me to go over at this point? Anybody have questions on the SSO that's about to come out with the new Automate update? Everybody understand that? Explain it. Okay, so Automate is adding a new SSO feature, and they're requiring multi-factor authentication, which means when you log in, by default, it's going to send you a code for you to type in when you log in. Now, if you're already using an MFA solution, like if you're using the Google Chrome plug, the Google Authenticator plugin or Duo or something, this isn't going to affect you. But what you need to, if you're not, what you need to make sure is if you go to your system and your users, you guys still see my screen? Okay. So you're gonna go to your users. You wanna make sure all your users have an email address in the email section. As you can see in my sandbox here, I don't. And the reason that that's important is because that's where Automate's gonna be sending you the code. So when I install this patch on this machine, I would be trying to log in and I have no way of retrieving my code. So I won't be able to log in. I think this is a great move by Automate to require this and to mandate it. You've got access to a lot of information, a lot of machines, and a bad actor can do a lot of damage if they get into if they can get into an Automate system. I think a lot of clients, or at least a lot of clients that I work with, are already using some sort of plugin to add the to provide MFA. But this is just going to make sure everybody has it. Ralph, you want to make sure all of your users have email assigned because all of your users are going to need to enter that code to log in. In this particular Automate environment that we're working on, I only have one user. So that's why you only see one. But for Dan, I know you guys are using the Google Authenticator. You guys are going to be fine. It's not going to change anything. Okay, Ralph, is that a question for me? Where does Automate stand on physical MFA? I think there's some integrations where you can use, or you're talking about where you get the keys from the actual device, like with is it Authy that does that? I know there's integrations that'll work with it. Ultimately, I mean, you want to make your systems as secure as possible. So if that's a solution that your company has, then definitely you're going to want to enter it. Yeah, Ralph, I know it works with Duo. I know they have something like that. I've seen it work, and I think Authy will work with Automate as well as Control. And that's another thing. Security with your Automate is great, but you want to make sure that your Control is locked down as well. If you guys are logging in directly to your Control server, make sure that those users have MFA and you're securing that as well. Okay, so while I'm waiting for some more, control is a big one, MSP in Texas. Yeah, Ralph, I can tell you that they're not the only one. Ralph says control is a big one, and MSP in Texas was recently doxxed because of an insecure control. There's been a lot of those out there, and not all of them have made it to the news, but it happens. And control and automate, because once you have access to those, you can change passwords, you can steal, you can copy files, you can transfer files. I mean, you can do whatever you want. So it's very important that you have both of these locked down. Okay. So while we're waiting for some more stuff to come in, I want to reach out to you guys. So in our on our industry speaker weeks, do you have any requests? Are there any vendors or any speakers you would like us to bring in to talk and answer your questions? I would be thrilled to hear your ideas and to call some people and say, this is what you guys want, so we need to make this happen. Maybe scripting with an Automate expert. Yeah, there's some couple people that I could bring in to answer some scripting questions. Scripting is hard. It's a hard thing to learn, especially if you don't have any scripting experience. So with me, I never scripted before I used Automate, so I learned just kind of over a long period of time how to how to manipulate and make Automate scripting do what I want to do. There's a lot of different approaches you can take to scripting. You want to script via Automate commands. If you want to just take existing PowerShell or Python scripts and perform those directly from Automate. But there's a couple of guys I can reach out to see if they are willing to talk. That's a great idea. Thank you. I might do that on a Automate Tuesday, if that's okay. Perfect. So I'll do that, and then you guys tell your friends to join, so we have lots of people for our speakers. Everybody settling in now after the holidays and the madness. Last week was a little bit crazy. Everybody's coming back from work or from vacation, and nobody's computer works. So typically that's a pretty busy week for the MSPs. High ticket volume. All right, what else do you guys want to go over? Maybe a red teamer tester? Ralph, I don't know what that is. Derek is asking, have there been any updates in the web version progress, or is there somewhere we can look to see when new features are added to make it more like the desktop client? So Derek, every month Automate is releasing a patch, and every month it's adding more functionality to the web. So as the new patches are coming in, I'm pretty sure you're getting, or they're emailing out, hey, this is what's new in version blah, blah, blah. Make sure you read those notes to see kind of what they're working on. There's also inside the university, you can see a roadmap to see kind of what they're working on and when it's expected. Someone who would be able to point out security issues and how they can be negated in all phases of ConnectWise. Let me think on that, Ralph, and see if I can find somebody who's who can speak to that. So my recommendation is definitely do MFA for everything. I really like the ConnectWise SSO, especially because I can use my Azure AD as my authentication source. So then I don't have it. then I can use Microsoft's password policies and password change policies and Microsoft MFA for the users to get in, as well as you can do those conditional access rules. And you've got a lot more just visibility into the security of who's logging in your system if you're sending them through Microsoft as opposed to just logging into ConnectWise, where there's no password expirations or password complexity. That's something you're not doing. Highly encouraged. Reach out to me if you need some help with it. Is running the offboard script the only way to retire an agent in the web version? I think right now, honestly, Derek, I couldn't tell you last time I logged into the web version. Let's check it out. Yeah, it looks like it. You can also run the uninstall remote agent command on the machine. Uh-oh. Okay. That's great. My computer, it's going to take a minute to fix it. From the web version issues, maybe a suggestion would be a virtual machine accessible via web with Automate installed. Yeah, that definitely helps. I think the big issue is all the functionality that the web version doesn't have yet, and they're working on it. Did I lose everybody? Okay, I think the Facebook stream ended. That's fine. Okay, great. All right. So, Derek, Ralph, what other questions do you have? That KB. Oh, great. Facebook is still up. The KB for the Microsoft one, Derek? I don't think they've released it yet, but once I find it, I'll let you know. Ask me again on Thursday when we meet. No, I don't think they've released the KB yet. I know Microsoft is planning on releasing or making releasing something today, and they're going to release more information about everything later today. So your Google foo is still in check. So when going back to the security and things you can do to kind of tighten up your security, the most important thing is making sure your permissions are locked down and you're only giving people access to the permission level that they need. One of the biggest vulnerabilities, especially in Automate, because not only is it a security concern, but you don't need a level 1 tech trying to do something that they shouldn't and then breaking things. I heard a story once about a guy who was like an intern, was working on an Automate script, and what he thought he was doing wasn't what he actually did. And the script deleted the System32 folder, and he did it to every computer that company managed. It's a great example of don't let people have access to stuff that you don't trust. Otherwise, you're going to have a big mess on your hand. There was a recent issue released about Dropbox. In light of that, how does Patch Manager work with third-party applications? So Ralph, third-party patching is a separate license. If you have that, it works very similarly to the Microsoft patching with Automate. You would select, you would say Dropbox, I want to keep that current, and then you would pick a day of the week that you want your third-party softwares to be updated. I would show you, but I don't think I have third-party patching on licenses on this sandbox. All right, gentlemen, I think we're going to end it there. We'll give you guys a half an hour back of your day. Next week, I believe Rose is talking about Cell. And then again, on the 28th, we're going to talk about sending credentials and the best ways to do that and how we can leverage ConnectWise. I think both of you guys have my email address. If you have further questions, feel free to reach out. You want to hop on a call, happy to talk over whatever. And until we meet again, have a wonderful day. Thanks.